What's up? So today I'm sitting with Ethan. We've been working together for 2 months now, and the transformation he's had physically and mentally has been insane. So I just wanted to dive into his story and show you what's possible even with a packed schedule. Thank you for being here, Ethan. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, ready to go. Thank you for having me, Diego.
So to start it off, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, my name's Ethan. Currently running an AI agency, so build and release AI systems for businesses. And I came to Diego because I wanted to get in shape and wanted to go from this bad, like skinny, fat, pudgy sort of physique I had to, get in shape and really feel good. I think mentally, like when I first came to Diego, I was in a really bad spot, like sluggish, didn't really have like much motivation. It made it really hard for the demanding schedule that I have, working like 60, 70, even 80 hours a week, if not more, to keep up mentally and obviously physically. So when I started with Diego, I was in a bad spot, both mentally and physically, but that was soon going to change. So,
And what was your routine like back then in terms of like workouts, nutrition, and sleep?
yeah, I would say starting with workouts, I'd been like a casual gym goer. I'd go every here and there, maybe do a few exercises in the gym, but it was never something I took serious, rather just something that I do when it was convenient and not something that I really put emphasis and a ton of work into. And those results spoke for themselves. So didn't really see much success with that. When it comes to my actual eating habits is very poor. When you're working like 60, 70, 80 hours, you're looking for the most convenient foods, whether that's eating out, whether that's just going into the pantry, grabbing a whole bunch of junk. My eating habits definitely played a major role in the lack of performance, you could say, I had in just day to day life, and then also in decision making when it came to business. So I would say, yeah, the eating habits are poor and the sleep was even worse. I think that was like one of the other things I was really neglecting. My Aura ring at the time was saying I was sleeping on average for between 4 and 5 hours a night. Not something I really cared about because I was just focused on, trying to do and work as much as possible to really crank and get the most out I could for my business. So,
Emotionally, how'd you feel about your body during that time?
oh, absolutely terrible. I mean, I honestly like avoid mirrors. I didn't want to see what I look like. I felt kind of ashamed. It was obviously like towards the back half of summer, so I keep my shirt on, like not really feeling confident about the way that I looked or felt. So, kind of kept the shoulders down, didn't really I kept to myself, all this kind of stuff. It's in a bad spot overall. So, yeah.
What do you think was the most frustrating part for you looking back?
I think one of the frustrating parts was just knowing that I could do better. I think that not realizing how much my sleep, my diet, and my fitness had played a role in all the other areas of my life. I mean, you hear about it, but until you actually feel what it feels like to feel good and to be in shape and to have a transformation, like you really have no idea how much your current self is holding you back. So I think that nagging feeling of knowing that I could do better, knowing that I could look better, knowing that I could feel better, was really the thing that did it for me.
And was there ever a moment that you were like, I can't keep going with this?
Yeah, I would say there's plenty. I mean, I don't think there was like a particular moment, but rather a collection of realizations where I was like, you know what, like I see all these people on social media, with their shirt off at the beach with their family, and they look good. They look like they feel good. They look healthy, and I wanted to look healthy. I want to look good. So I think it's rather just something that I wanted to perform my best and to get in the shape that I would be proud of. I would, want my kids to not just to look like, but to aspire to be like their dad because their dad takes care of themselves. I wasn't taking care of myself at the time, so I think I just wanted to step up and do the best that I could, and I knew I was falling short previously.
What were your first impressions when we started working together?
Yeah, I think one of my first impressions when we started working together was just how easy like the structure and the layout of the workouts was. Like everything was planned out. I just had to show up to the gym, do what you tell me to. And I was super surprised with how efficient it was. I think, when I've seen programs online or I've tried other things, it's been very kind of janky and I'm kind of floating, not really knowing how much to do of what exercise or what is next or even the proper form. But the way that you have it laid out, I was really blown away by. It was just like show up and just do what it tells you to do and put in what it tells you to put in. That was it. It was completely and like done for me, which was super helpful. It was less things to think about. It wasn't there wasn't a lot of friction in doing it. So I think, oh my gosh, I think that I think I think I think that it was just it was super good. So I was really surprised by that.
As you settled in, did anything surprise you about how we approach training or nutrition?
Yeah. Like I just mentioned, it was super efficient when it came to training. I wasn't wasting any time. And I think honestly, it's what made the workouts like an hour. Like I never spent more than maybe an hour and 5 minutes in the gym. And, obviously a lot of people like the bodybuilders, they say you got to be in the gym hours and hours a day. And that's just something I can't afford working as much as I do. But I was super surprised how like everything was really efficient back to back, the supersets and already knowing how many of each rep and each set that I'm doing on each exercise took all the guessing out of it, which I was super happy about. And then it was just like that with the nutrition. You already set my calories. I already knew how many grams of protein I needed to hit every day, and from there, I just kind of had the freedom to eat and do what I want without having like the crazy strict fad diet that doesn't work or doesn't last. It was something that felt so much more sustainable. I feel like this whole program is something that I can continue to do even outside of your leadership and your guidance. But if it wasn't for you, like this foundation has been set in a way that I can take it and run with it.
What do you think the hardest part about getting started was?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing about getting started was just getting over the soreness. I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning, I was super sore and I was like, oh, this sucks. But after the first few weeks, it started to get better. And then just making sure that I was making healthy decisions when it came to the nutrition. I knew that I had a certain amount of calories that I had to hit, and I knew I had like the protein goal that I needed to hit, and just making good, conscious decisions with reason and some flexibility in there, which was awesome. It made it so much more sustainable, but definitely being very cognizant of what I was eating. It made all the world's difference because I'd have a day where I wouldn't eat the best. I'd still stay under my calories. I'd still hit my protein, but even the foods that I had weren't as nutrient dense as maybe another day where I felt more satiated. And it was just like those little tweaks that you and I had talked about on our weekly calls that made all the world's a difference to keeping me satiated and making better and healthier decisions when it came to eating. So, yeah.
And as you push through that, how did your mindset begin to shift in those early weeks?
In the early weeks, it was definitely a big eye opener. Like I had said earlier, I was definitely a very casual gym owner, or not gym owner, but a gym goer. And I didn't really push myself. I'd, maybe break a sweat here and there if I really felt like getting into it. But, definitely after talking on the one-on-one calls, like it's really just me versus me. And each week I could see where I was at in the previous week. And, you and I had discussed how like you cannot let that previous Ethan outwork or outdo the reps, the sets for this week. So I think that it really set the bar and set the standard that when I go hard now, I'm going to go harder next week because that next week Ethan is competing with today's Ethan that's showing up. So knowing that I'm going to give it my all, I'm really going to be intent, like not just intense, but like really intentional with all the sets, the reps, and I'm pushing myself to the absolute limit because I know that it's going to pay dividends and I'll be able to see results a lot faster. So the mindset portion was absolutely crucial because it's been able to like pour over into other aspects of my life, not just in the gym, but in the nutrition, in the sleep, and even in the business side of things.
That's awesome, bro. I love that. What changes did you notice first? The physical changes or the mental changes?
Say mental first. I think that, it's easy to want to get wrapped up in like, oh, I want to have a six pack tomorrow. But I think for me personally, the mental changes is what powered the physical changes. Like I just mentioned, and what you had just, we just talked about, the mental portion of this really pours over into every aspect. I was able to go harder, and I was able to focus better in work because I felt good, because I ate good, because I slept good, and because I put adequate amount of intensity and intention into the workout. So everything just built off the back of each other, and it started with here, and it translated into everything else. So definitely saw the mental gain, and then in response to the mental gain, the physical followed suit. So I was super stoked about that.
What about your energy or focus at work? Did that change at all once you like found the rhythm?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that it really went to show me how I lacked so much focus, how my energy and libido was down, like prior to starting with you. But once I had gotten in the groove of the sleep, the nutrition, and just the eating, the three pillars that you have, like, oh my gosh, I was able to focus for longer, work longer, be more efficient, was able to, spend more time with my family and with my girlfriend, like just because I was able to, really lock in and, go by the book of, making sure I'm hitting the right calories, the sleep, and, taking care of everything that needed to be taken care of so that I could perform at a high level. So it it made all the worlds of difference, not just in my personal life, but in the work life and even in my relational life as well. So
And what habits do you think made the biggest difference for you?
yeah, I think that going back to what we just talked about, like mentally, I built the habit of like, being able to go further and push harder. I think that, obviously in business, when you encounter challenges, it's really easy to give up. Just like when you get to the gym and you're really not feeling it that day, but it's like, no, like I'm outworking my previous self. I'm outworking who I was last week, 2 weeks ago, because I'm going to continue to outwork even the version of myself in a week. So I would say just the mental fortitude and resiliency that the gym has cultivated in me, even in the past 2 months of working together. Those the habits that I've picked up, just even in the thought life, have paid dividends, and um, has just helped even with eating, making better decisions, not late night snacking, not grabbing junk food because it's not like fruitful for the way that I want to look. So like it's translated into every area for sure.
And how would you describe your physique now compared to when we started?
Yeah, well, when we started, I was skinny fat. I was like pudgy, as I was telling you in the beginning. But now I feel a lot better. Like got like the resting like six pack now. Definitely seeing more definition in the arms, the back, even in my legs as well. Physically, I'm very happy, and I'm also super excited to keep pushing the envelope to see how much better I can look. I think that even just in the 2 months, it's crazy how fast you can change, because I think that most people think, oh, it takes years and years of looking like being in the gym, and yes it does to a certain extent to get super buff like bodybuilder, but I'm not trying to be as big as a bodybuilder. So I think just even being where I've been, and now in these 2 months I'm super stoked with where I'm at, and even more excited for where I'll be even just from a month from now.
Dude, yeah, even like your 30-day transformation, like that was crazy. Like that's awesome.
Yeah,
And what part of the transformation are you most proud of?
I think going back to what I said, I keep going back to like the whole mental side of things, but I think, people really underestimate like how it really starts up here. And so I would say definitely the mental resiliency and the discipline that I have cultivated. It's literally it's it's made all the world of difference in everything that I do. Whether it's in my faith, being disciplined to show up and to read my Bible, or whether it's in my relationship, making sure that I show up better for my girlfriend, or in my business, making sure that I'm spending the maximum amount of time that I can and putting the most focus that I can. Like this program was, obviously to go from skinny fat to jacked, but it's really to go from, a weak and poor mindset to one that's sharp, one that's, high performing, and just helps you like manage your time better if you're working like 60, 70 hours a week. Like you're already frantic doing whatever it is that you're doing. It just made me like so much more clear and so much more intentional with what needs to get done and the best way to go about doing it. So yeah, it's been crazy to say the least.
Now, what about your confidence? Has that like changed in how you carry yourself?
Oh yeah, it's been through the roof. I feel better because I actually like what I see in the mirror now. It's not like I'm avoiding my shadow. It's rather like the tarp's off and I'm feeling good. My chest is, I'm up. Like I'm feeling like my muscles. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So, yeah, the confidence is through the roof as of recent.
And when you look at old photos and remember where you started, how do you feel?
When I look at old photos, I think it's crazy to see how far I've come, even just in like the 60 days of being in the program. I think it's, you know, like I was telling earlier, like it's so easy to think that it's something so far out when it really can just be around the corner if you continuously show up and do what you're supposed to do and give it everything that you got. Not saying that you have to be perfect, but just showing up and being consistent and having the discipline to go even when you don't feel like it. I think it's so crazy looking at those old pictures and thinking about where even mentally I was with those old pictures and now looking in the mirror and being like, wow, like how far we've come. It's awesome. Feel very blessed for sure.
And what did this whole process teach you about yourself?
I think that it taught me is, there's a verse in the Bible that says like I can do all things with Christ who strengthens me. I think that that verse really does suit how like this whole process has made me feel. Like I really didn't think that it was going to take as little time as it took. I really didn't think that, the mental portion that you talked about even when we initially talked was going to be as important as I thought it was. I didn't think that even just the nutrition side of things was going to be as easy as you made it sound. I didn't think that all these different things that you, when put together in aggregate, would facilitate such a life change in such a short period of time. And I'm incredibly thankful for you and what even just your transformation inspiring me to go into the gym, to push myself, to outwork my old self, because it's literally had an effect on every single area like in my life. It's completely changed it. So it's crazy. It's just crazy to think. It's honestly just crazy. Like it's crazy. That's all I gotta say. It's wild.
If you could give advice to your past self before starting, what would you say?
I would say just start. I think oftentimes we're looking for the best time to start. We're looking for the perfect moment, but the perfect moment never comes. If I were to start when I thought I had time, that day would have never came. Working 60, 70, 80 hours, even 90 hours a week, like you are literally working so much, you don't think that you can do anything. You don't think that you can have a personal life. You don't think you can go to the gym. You don't think you can eat correct. You don't think that you can, work out. But let me tell you, if you don't start now, that day will never come. And I think that it's not about, trying to find, like I said, the perfect moment, but, rather the imperfect moment that can lead to the result that you want in the process and towards the end. Like these past 2 months, I've worked more being on this program than I did when I started. And that was just because the mental clarity, the feeling better, feeling more alive and focused was like enabled me to do more. And working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, like you just like, oh, like I can't do more. But it's crazy to think that you can with the right system and the right framework and infrastructure to carry it. You can do all things. So I would say just to start, take the jump.
And just with these 2 months of starting, do you think you've learned enough to continue this journey for the rest of your life?
I think that's what makes this different than most things that people do. If anybody's anything like me, you're operate out of one of two extremes. Either I'm perfect on my diet or I'm not perfect at all and I'm eating junk. I'm perfect on my workout regime, perfect on my running plan, and then, not perfect at all, not running. And I think what makes this so incredible is that it takes and it accounts for real life. Like I don't have 2 hours in the gym, but I can carve out an hour a day to go to the gym. I don't have, the most perfect diet, but I can hit my calories and I can hit my protein and I can find things to feel satiated and not feel restricted in this kind of diet. I can prioritize my sleep. I can make sure that I do work a lot, but I also rest a lot because that improves my performance in the gym. It improves my performance at work. It improves my performance in like all of these areas. So yeah, it affects everything.
That's awesome, bro. I really appreciate you taking your time to just share everything because I know a lot of people can relate to your story. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, no, I definitely say, if you're watching this and you're kind of on the fence, you know that, you want to get in the best shape of your life. You working a lot, 60 plus hours, 70 plus hours. You're in that like skinny fat, zone and you're not where you want to be and mentally you're not where you want to be. Let me tell you, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. He has literally taken my hand and guided me through this entire journey and I literally wouldn't be able to do it without him. So if you're on the fence, if you're really thinking about it, if this is something that you don't want to slack off on and you want to improve, you want to be at a high level, whether it's in your fitness, your finance, your whatever it is that you're looking to pursue, it literally starts here. And he gives you the tools, the techniques, and everything in between to be able to go from that skinny fat physique to sharp, cut up, that physique that you've always dreamed of. So I would say definitely take the jump, take the risk. I was, I'm just a living testament of that. I mean, you can see my results. So yeah, I would say go for it for sure.
I appreciate that. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon, bro.
Appreciate you, bro. Take care.
You too. Thank you.